Mamu ina akwaba ya de Benkasa TV native. Eye Fiifi Kwatey ababontin e de yensim bi abetodwa. Concerning Excellency John Dramani Mahama of office more the next move of the NDC party. Native for the senior abetodwa sentino or share NDC party nipa mo ekuku da mumu ametumi atake the party for the offense so share no akasa Fiifi Kwatey. Now sanso share nkofo peniform NDC amaniku bi te say Chairman Johnson is sedun ketia Julius Debra mo etifotum say akuku da mumu ametumi atake the party forward. Now sanso da abetodwa sentina ade a MPP for any can about Excellency John Dramani Mahama the 30th agenda ne dey emba so chef say Excellency ankasa kasentino so nya few office ekopon on sanso baba bim and afenso no obi a take the loss of the land very very seriously. So that abetodwa sentino say Excellency John Dramani Mahama fi abemu kodia there are great people in the NDC party metimi atake the party forward. Na SCP pinang no kutin sensama o kana odi tudwa medamu ina
Kalend is on record. Yes. We here and the general secretary. Timo kaya de na janto because said the general secretary and the chairman of the NDC should speak. I knew I was saying that. We na maru Sunday ya san kubuta Fiifi Kwatey say papa, yes agenda ni nyama mu ye na ma tete mtini okai.
Something you talked about. The president is in his final term. Is he really? They said that you, the NDC, you're working hard. You want to win majority, super majority, or extra super majority in parliament. That's why you're fighting for Pandai, so that you would make President Mahama run again for a third term. What is your party position on this man? We've heard the president, I spoke to his Minister for Communication, Fiifi Kwatey, said that the president is not running again. Is the party working on something like this? If chances happen that let President Mahama run again, would you endorse that as a party?
First and foremost, you must appreciate that all over sub-Saharan Africa, if there's one country that has been able to provide a model that continues to be an inspiration in terms of democratic transition, is Ghana. That's why the recent thing that happened in Benin was a bit unfortunate, because Benin, along with Ghana, let's say Benin was holding the flag for the Francophones, and Ghana clearly holds a flag for the Anglophones. So what happened in Benin was really like a real slap in the face. And that for me also simply means that the searchlight must be put on Benin properly in order to understand what is happening there. If it's true that there is some kind of attempt to use what you call political manipulations to subvert things without necessarily a coup, those things have to be looked at, because we are talking about a situation where the ordinary people must constantly feel that we are empowered enough to make that ultimate decision. And not those who are in leadership thinking they are so smart that they can literally manipulate the processes constantly to their advantage. What it simply means is simple. Ghana that clearly has set this tone in terms of the transition in governance, in terms of keeping to our constitution, ensuring that we allow people to have the voices to make that decision. We at no point should ever encourage a situation where there is such what you call a disruption in our constitutional, shall I call it, what we stated that we ought to do. The president has spoken about this, and clearly he did it well, because he didn't want to allow such what you call conversations to continue as if he's entertaining it. That's not all. The party itself that has promised to ensure that we do what is right for the country has to ensure that in this spirit of reset, we are the ones who are ensuring that even though we have such a huge majority in parliament, we should use it only to be able to do what is good for the country and not trying to change constitutions because we are trying to make maybe one person happy.
So hand on heart, no Mahama.
We stand behind the president declaring that there will be no third term.
Still the general secretary of the NDC. Now, baby, me main meet wo a me di video yi. Eya sembia o kan a o maro sando busa na se post Mahama den ne besi. Fiifi Kwatey nyansafo ti no kan.
Okay, now that you've said that, very soon he will become lame duck because power will start shifting. You're going to start looking for a flag bearer. We already know that a number of people are said to be expressing interest. This President Mahama is a man you believe to be the one who's holding this party together, the country together, because you have a reset and he is the ultimate power and he supports you in this agenda to do a reset. What if people start disrespecting him and disobeying his commands because there's a new guy on the block? How do you deal with that? How are you able to manage the powers of an outgoing president versus a new flag bearer who you have to project and promote as a party?
All right. In the first place, whoever emerges to become the presidential candidate of our party will definitely be somebody who is humble and also smart enough to appreciate that his chances of winning power the chances are totally dependent on the performance of John Mahama and the government. So if you clearly do know that you are taking the baton from someone, you will be the one to be in the very, very first forefront of ensuring that respect for that individual remain absolutely sacrosanct. You will be the one. Then naturally, if you set that tone that this, if you call it outgoing leader, is the one who determines the success of whoever is taking over, including even the NDC as a vehicle, then your own, the way you set that tone, make sure that the people who are around you immediately understand it. But if you yourself are literally short-sighted enough, not smart enough and not humble enough to appreciate that it is the success and should I call it, the success of John Mahama, especially in this second time, that would ensure that there will be a future success for NDC as a vehicle and for individuals who will lead the vehicle. It means that the party would have maybe made a mistake choosing you. The party clearly, that must constantly be able to see the way forward, will be making a mistake choosing an individual who can simply understand this basic political reality. I do not see that happening. So I see whoever emerges to be one who will understand the primacy of John Mahama in terms of his success and ensuring that he's continuing to be given that respect as a leader of the party, as a current leader of the party, who subsequently, if there is a presidential candidate, he ceases there to become the party, but still remains to call the only shall I call it, the past presidential leader in our party. Okay. So naturally, that's a big voice. There's a
general belief that your chairman wants to run for flag bearer. Are you officially aware? Are you unofficially aware? How are you dealing with this as a party? You yourself, do you have an interest?
Let's say this way, that especially in the first year after you won power, any conversation regarding interest in running for power, I find it personally, I find it an insult to the NDC as a whole, an insult even to President Mahama.
It's too early.
Because we barely have come into office. We spent 8 years in opposition, made promises to people, and we've taken over power. The promises that we've made to the country, we are now beginning to, as it were, implement them. There are promises we've made to our own political people. Just the people who have worked for us. We have not even come to, should I call it, 10% or even 20% of the accomplishment of that. And whereas leadership should be focused on ensuring that this number one thing is the focus, that you think about it, you actually are going to start what you call spending your energy now thinking about what is in it for me. What it simply means out there, the millions of NDC people who are watching me, any individuals who show that tendency are individuals who are simply telling you that they care about themselves far more than they care about the organization. Because your number one focus at the moment should be the success of this vehicle. That President Mahama should actually succeed. That the ministers are held to their feet, are held to the fire for them to do what is right. The chief executive do what is right. The party as an organization continue to show the discipline and the support for the system. That's what you do. Subsequent to the first year, you now go into what you call the reorganization of the party, starting from the branch level, through the constituency, through the region, then to the national level. When those things are done, then you are now talking about having done the necessary, and hopefully by that time you have done a lot more, not just in delivering for the country, but also delivering for the party. When people subsequently then say that, okay, you know what, we are thinking that we want to say